last week I was breaking down some of the oral prophecies about illustrious prophet Noble Ali, comparing them with some of the events that's going on in the world today, including natural disasters. And I'm pretty sure brothers and sisters did research on the FEMA camps. You get displaced, you get put in FEMA camps. The prophet talked about how, people will be biting into their own flesh because there was no food around, so on and so forth. Soldiers guarding certain places that you can't get any, have access to food. All these things we see relative today. One of the big discussions is the presidency, Donald Trump as president. As we know, as Moors, we always had leadership prior to even the forming of the U.S. Union Republic. The prophet talks about sultans, we talk about sheiks. Our prophet still guides us in a spiritual form. And so we have to understand we are part and parcel of this said government. All right? So you have the Moorish Temple of America. When you read the back of the 101s, it's set up as an organism, a body politic. And you reference that to the Purge Revised Statute Religious Corporations Act. We have the authority to operate as a government, a religious society. Whereas other institutions are not set up like that. And so the supreme law of the land is the Constitution of the United States. It's a contract to protect your inalienable rights, rights that are given to you by the Most High that can't be taken away. Now, one of the prophets, one thing that he stated, that he prophesied was, this is out of Oral Prophecies, Key 14, if a European be just, they would have an Asiatic vice president. And if they had an Asiatic president, they would have a European vice president. Did we have an Asiatic president and a European vice president? Now, prior to that, we had a president of mixed blood, or had a Moorish bloodline, Abraham Lincoln. He was a Melungeon. And I gave a little bit of history about the Melungeons having Moorish ancestry, indigenous ancestry, Native American ancestry. So the general public have been dumbed down to think just because someone is a little bit fair skinned, his hair may be a little bit more curly or straighter, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a Moorish bloodline. I'm not talking about pale, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Europeans. All right? That's what I'm not referring to. And it's even some pictures of Abraham Lincoln dressed as a Moor. And it states Abraham Africanus. That's how he's depicted. And research shows that he was also studying Hebrew/Jewish traditions. And he's one of the few presidents you see with a beard. One of the few that you see with a beard. And he's the only president on a copper penny. His face is going one direction, all the other presidents on the other coins are going another direction. So he was of a copper hue. I'm not saying to worship him and make him a saint. I'm just giving, historical history, historical references in regards to Abraham Lincoln. And again, his name was Abraham, which is quote unquote the father of the Hebrews. So this is just historical information. Now, what you had a lot of times after the forming of this country, you had a lot of offshoot organizations teaching spirituality, religion, so on and so forth. And they were looking to interpret what they were reading from the Bible. Most times it was from the King James Version. A lot of them didn't read or understand Hebrew or the Old Testament. So they were dealing with the King James Version of understanding. One of those individuals was a man by the name of Charles Taze Russell. Anybody heard of him? Never heard of Charles Taze Russell? He's the individual who started Jehovah's Witness organization. And I believe it was in the 1870s, he started the Jehovah's Witnesses. And basically, he was raised in a Presbyterian church, Congregational church, and was influenced by Adventist teachings. Now, everybody has seen Watchtower, right? They give you a magazine, knock on your door, you don't want to answer the door, so on and so forth. See, like nice people. They dress nice, they got their families going. Jehovah's Witnesses are deep. They had the big Watchtower building in Brooklyn, right? They sold the building, I believe. Finally, they sold the building they got a big price for it. I'm not sure the exact amount. But we see them out there. We're not here to bash any religion. But a lot of our friends, I had a friend of mine, I actually had a fight with one of my friends back in the day. And he was Jehovah's Witness. He had the nerve to come knocking on my door after the fight with the suit on and all that. His parents sent him. He had to do it. I looked through the peephole. I said, you know what? I should go inside and get a bat and get him. But I said, you know what? I ain't going to answer the door. I'm going to let it go. But we went to public school together, and his family was Jehovah's Witness. And I know he hated it, but he had to do what his parents said. That's the difference with, when you raise a child in a particular religion or culture, whether they like it or not, it's gonna influence who they are as an individual. It's gonna deal with their growth and development. If you don't give your child nothing, then they just out there doing whatever. I had certain family members of mine where their parents didn't give them anything, so they were just out there just doing whatever they want to do. But if you ever hear interviews from adults, whether they like going to church or not, whether they like going to the mosque or not, whether they like going to, the Jehovah's Witness organization or not, whether they like going to the MST or not, they always tell you those experiences shaped who they were when they became an adult. Sometimes when they become an adult, they choose not to be a part of that. But it's still going to shape and develop your decisions. Certain decisions and how I move is based on how I was raised, whether I like what was going on or not. So
that's what Jaru said. He was a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
And he called himself Jaru.
Right.
He didn't even realize that he called himself Jaru.
Right.
Connected with Jehovah's Witness, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it was subliminally already in him already.
It was subliminally already in him. Even some brothers I know that was in the crime. They was in the streets, they was in the crime, but whether they was raised from Islamic point of view or Christian point of view, it still shaped how they was moving. They was moving different. Sometimes they would justify robbing somebody or whatever, saying it's just based on their understanding of their culture, their religion. And some brothers was like, I survived my situation because I had an Islamic background. So Allah was protecting me. That's why I was able to rob such and such and get away with it. But the heathens, they was getting shot, killed, going to jail, whatever the case may be. And I know some brothers like, because I had an Islamic background, when I was in jail, I was able to survive. Because the Muslim brothers was running the jail, and they wasn't into a lot of things that the other quote-unquote infidels was into. So they was able to survive behind bars. So whether you like it or not, how your upbringing and what you influenced by religiously and spiritually is going to shape who you are as an adult, whether you choose to be a part of it when you become an adult. So these are things that we have to take into consideration. So again, this Charles Taze Russell, he was European. And he saw that the Bible, and his studies continued, he began to reject major doctrines of Christianity. So he established his own belief system. So I'm not really mad at that, because it's certain things in Christianity we don't agree with, we reject, because a lot of it deals with the teachings of Paul. But here you have a European, he saw the same thing. And so he started publishing a magazine to promote his own beliefs. And this magazine was a precursor to